Hi
And
guys.
welcome to Jean's Lessons, Life Lessons. We had chapter 5, lesson 5.4. It's the last point in this little chapter. And it goes, there are certain jobs within our jobs which are not meant for us.
Indeed.
Accept that. It makes work easier.
Indeed.
What on earth are you talking about?
I'm talking, I wasn't meant to be a midwife.
But you're a nurse.
I'm a nurse, but not a midwife, nor am
Okay.
I a psychiatric nurse. I don't do med, okay? So, yeah, and nor my boss. I don't do boss. Me, I'm a shit shoveler at the bottom. Love my job. I do it well. I'm a counselor. I'm happy to do that. But as far as all the paperwork goes and all the nonsense at the top, I don't know whoever
You don't
created
like
it.
that.
No, whoever created it.
Yeah, paperwork's not my favorite thing
No.
either.
Just before I left ICU, which is now in 2008,
Yeah.
we had to fill out, they said they were going computerless, I mean paperless, going computer. We got 14 pieces of paper to fill in before we even looked at a patient in ICU.
Wow.
And everybody used to fill in these papers all morning, and then the boss would come around and collect them. And I promise you, the last day that I worked there, I filled in the first three because she only looked at the first three and then put them underneath. I think they went into file 13. I don't know.
Obviously.
Maybe an alien will find them one day and ask what that was about. But
Yes.
I wrote swear words on page 4, page 5 to page 14 after I left, okay? Because I couldn't take another minute of it.
Yes.
Who created all this paperwork? And what
Yeah.
for? Who reads it is my question. I want to know who reads it.
It's called the red tape. Yeah. It's crazy.
Mad.
Crazy, crazy. But anyway, this job within the job, are you talking about just doing things that we shouldn't be involved in?
I think doing your passion. My passion is not paperwork. My passion certainly is in midwifery. Okay.
Oh,
I don't need to do blood, guts, and gore and that I don't. I was an ICU sister for 40 years. I did a good job there, but I'm pleased I went to geriatrics and I'm pleased I went to hospice because I only learned about dying, even though the patients in ICU died. I only learned about dying when I went to hospice,
hmm.
which was very interesting for me. So, bosses, what makes a good boss? So, I think I've had like four bosses. I can tell you two of them. The one was never meant to be a boss. She made it great. Bosses for me in my profession, they've never made good nurses.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
So they've taken bosses' positions for the money and for the hours.
Hmm.
And they've made lousy nurses. So how do you make a good boss? For me, I mean, I think there's some firm, and I don't know if it's in South Africa, but they send out an application for a job, and when you arrive there, they say, right, for this week you're going to be the cleaner. Next week you'll be the tea girl. After
Oh,
that you'll be whatever, and then after you've done all everybody else's jobs, you're going to get that position. So if one of those other people are off, you can step in and do the job.
oh, that's interesting.
And for me, that makes much sense. If we
Hmm.
don't know the job, how do we step in?
Yes.
So my one boss was never meant to be a boss. The one matron left, and she was the next senior assistant. She said she didn't want the job, and they begged her to take the job, so she took it. And what she had, she wasn't a good paperwork or good anything, but she had the loyalty of the staff.
Yeah.
So she could phone me at 3 a.m. in the morning and say, the old Rose Acres need you in a hurry. Please
Hmm.
go. And I would have gone because she had the loyalty of the staff. She knew what she was doing as far as that concerned. And we
Yeah.
had one of the best units out in that little hospital, the old Rose Acres,
Yes, yes,
because we
yes.
all worked as a team. And it started with her. The second good boss knew all about the staff's families. So she knew. And when they came along and said, we want to borrow on our pension money, she might let you borrow for the first time. The second time, she'd say, over my dead body, you're not doing that again. Okay, I told you last time, once is enough. Now you're not doing it because you need that money. And she knew about their kids, she knew about their families, she knew about their lives. And it was
Hmm.
back to the same thing. People became loyal.
Hmm.
So unless you're going to be a boss like that,
Tough.
good luck, bosses. Good luck. And you can see, certainly in hospitals, the way a place is run is the boss. In
Absolutely.
nursing, if you've got a good boss,
Yes.
your patients will be well cared for.
Yes.
If you have a lousy boss, poor patients in 2025
Hmm.
in South Africa and the world.
Correct. And but that's the same as any industry, not only
Yeah,
nursing. Good bosses create nice
yes.
atmospheres.
Happy atmospheres,
Yeah.
yes.
Whereas the dictators and that
Yeah. So for me,
creates.
you've got to be doing your passion in your job. I
Well,
mean, I've done my passion. I was born to be a nurse and I've done it.
I was gonna get there. How do we get to finding out if you don't know what's your passion?
I knew I was going to be a nurse from very young.
Lots of people don't
They don't.
know
So,
what
so
they want to
that
do.
so that goes back to me. I'm almost anti-education at the moment because the kid wants to be a vet in standard six, and well, standard six in my days, okay, whatever that is today, grade 7. But in 3 years' time, it's changed its mind. So I don't, that's why for me, we almost need back into trade schools. So in grade 7, 8, 9, whatever it is, you go and you get sent. If you want to be a vet, you've got to do a school, you've got to go and do 4 Saturdays out of a term at a vet's room helping. See if you like it.
Yes.
Because otherwise I don't know how you do it. I mean, in my profession, I had 3 years as an apprenticeship, 2 years as a journeyman. I couldn't become a ward sister in charge of a ward before I'd been a junior sister for 2 years. So it was 5 years before I took over a ward.
Yes.
So I don't know, because everybody's got degrees on their walls and no jobs, and they don't want to do that job anymore anyway. So you tell me, I don't know. Education for me is a waste of time at the moment, and certainly tertiary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, lots of people just study whatever it is and
to
then
get the degree.
yes. And then they don't go into that professional field.
I don't know where you get your passion for. I knew I was going to be a nurse from very small.
Well, there's that theory of then an motorcycle maintenance that says you kind of have to go and become an apprentice for a few months in a few different fields.
Yes, that I can believe.
When you have found the one that you like, go and study that.
Yes, and that's true. So my middle brother, he didn't want to do matric. So my father said he has to get a job, and became an aircraft electrician, followed by a flight engineer. And my father said, you can't fly an airplane before you know what happens in the airplane. So shortly after that, they just took people off the street to be a flight engineer.
Oh.
But they never knew the mechanics of an airplane. So 2 of my brothers became aircraft electricians, followed by flight engineers. Okay. My third brother became a master potter in 2 ways, okay? And making pots. He was very creative, and he became a pattern maker, which is also creative. So he had a very creative mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to find out how to do that.
So that was his passion for sure.
You meant that, what did you mean by that there's jobs within our jobs?
Well, that was like me in midwifery. So nursing is just not nursing. It's got many different fields. So when I did I did a degree after that, okay, and I ended up doing community nursing science, which is in my days was public health, and in apartheid South Africa. And I realized that there's no ways that I was going to be allowed into places to go and do public health, although it was a subject I really enjoyed. And the second one was administration.
Yes.
And I knew very quickly I wasn't going to be an administrator, okay? So both those 2 subjects, which were major subjects, were actually useless for me. I'm glad I did them, but I didn't want to do either of them.
Wow.
I would have liked to have done the public health, but in apartheid South Africa, it was impossible. So I would be dealing just with pale people in the clinic, who knows where.
Yeah.
So, and then, I mean, this, like in my job, there's psychiatry.
Yes.
You want to hear some stories about Sterkfontein, I'll tell you. They live in my memory. So I'm not a psychiatrist. For me, you can choose a new thought. Take it, a pills and a label don't help you. You got to do the work to go with it. So that's a job within a job.
And then to find out which one you're good at, which one you're passionate about, and just accept that and do that one. And even if it's not the high-ranking, most well-paid one, so what?
Yes.
Do the one that you're passionate about.
My honors was in psychology, and that I really enjoyed because it was in counseling. So for me, when you've looked at yourself, you can be a counselor, because that's when you can share your story with the human standing next to you that's got the same story that thinks it hasn't.
Yeah.
So we can all do counseling if we share our stories, if we're authentic. So for me, that my honors in psychology was the best thing I did, except for the stats part of it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Because stats are made up by most people, and in today's lives, how do we know the truth? I don't know.
We Google stats
Integrity
these days.
is gone.
Yes, they Google them. We don't go and research them.
So we don't research them.
Yeah.
We Google them.
And who knows if they're right?
No, we don't know. All I've got, the less I know. I do know I was born to be a nurse. I made a good one. I've done my service for humanity, and it's good.
There you go.
Yep.
Good. Well,
so I'm blessed.
Blessed we all are.
We are, indeed.
And What advice do you give those who need to go and find their passion, find that job?
Oh, for goodness sake, take a step forward. Just do something different. You're never going to find anything unless you do something different. And there's many things. I mean, with computers today, you can do all sorts of fancy things that are really passionate to help other people. But you first got to know who you are.
Yeah.
We're not judges for ourselves. That's what's wrong with the world. It's crazy.
I do find that most of the time when people come to me looking for their passion or their purpose, at the end of the day, it always involves service of some kind.
Absolutely. It is. Life is about service.
Yes.
When you serve, you know who you are.
Exactly.
You can't get away without serving others. When you're still stuck in me, mama, now, you're going to be miserable.
Absolutely.
And blaming the next guy for your problems. Yes, you have to serve. And there's always to serve. Many. Just be kind.
Yep. And that's part of waking up and growing up.
Yep.
Is to be of service.
Yep.
And practice that.
Yep.
Good. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jean. Have a good
Cheers.
Good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.